Hello, good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Harry, okay. Shall we wait for few more minutes until other students join?
Yes, madam. Okay.
Okay. Meanwhile, I can remember we were doing this lesson last week. Just tell whether I am correct or wrong. Yeah, let me share it with you. So these topics.
Madam, we did peer group and student subculture until peer group and student subculture.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. We'll check peer group. Yeah, let me.
And student subculture.
Harry, sure. That means not this one.
Let me check.
Okay, let me check whether it is something else. Okay, so this is one point. I'm checking.
Yes, madam.
Maybe this one. Okay, sure. Yeah. We'll check with this.
Madam, that the topic is, let me check. Aims of educational sociology.
This is the PowerPoint, madam, start last week.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Here, teacher-student relationship, peer interaction, classroom climate, instructional method. So you are telling we completed teacher-student relationship. We have to start with peer interactions. Am I correct?
It's Miss. It's 1.4.5 peer group and student subculture.
Adi, okay, sure.
For
This one.
1.4.5. Yeah, this one.
Adi, okay. Is this the one?
Yes, ma'am.
Adi, okay. Just read before we understand it. Yeah, while reading, you can, of course, understand. Number 4.5 is peer group and student subculture. Okay, just read. And hope you might have read peer groups. So that is what we are going to talk. Peer groups are very important segment actually in shaping students' attitudes, behaviors, and academic performance. So peer groups, that is something that we have to take into consideration. So student subcultures. So then among students, within students, there are subcultures, which are groups of students. So what is the meaning of this subculture? Subculture consists of students who share same values, norms, and interest. And normally we say birds of same feather flock together. So even in the field of education, when we take a particular classroom, we can see the students who are having similar thinking pattern, similar interest, similar norms and values, they flock together, they join together. So peer group refers to that actually. Okay, so here in the second paragraph, you can see the meaning definition of peer group. That means a social group made up of individuals who share similar characteristics. So they may be similar in their age, interest, and even social status. Okay, we'll go further. So we are now going to understand certain characteristics of peer groups. Okay, here we can see uh, peer groups. We know this already actually. In the process of socialization, peer groups play a major role. Okay, so then students should be socialized actually. So students should work together and they should be together. And individually, they should not do their work actually. So the socialization that students get within the school is really helpful for them to step into the society. Okay, so then for socialization, peer groups play a major role. And also identity formation. So peer groups, they help students to develop their own sense of identity and self-worth. Okay, sometimes it may be students' peers who recognize the students' challenge. It may not be parents, it may not be teachers actually. Sometimes a talent of a particular student will be recognized and will be encouraged by another peer. Okay, so then within the peer groups, the students individually find their identity actually. Whether I am having leadership qualities, whether I am so emotional, just like that, the identity formation starts within the peer groups. And when students are there in a group, normally we say clique. And so within the group members, there is a very good understanding about each and every students. And they know who is more courageous, who is more sensitive, who is very intelligent, who is careless, just like that. Okay. If you have a doubt, you can ask. Uh, Okay, we'll understand social support. Okay, so peer groups. If the peer group is a positive one, if a peer group is a good one, actually, it should support uh, the individuals actually. Peer groups provide social support and sense of belonging. So the peer groups will affect students' mentality. The student who belong to a particular peer group will feel that he or she actually belongs to particular group. Sense of belonging. I'm not alone. I'm a member of that particular peer group. Just like that. So sense of security is there. So, you also might have understood or experienced there are some students who are rejected by peer groups. Sometimes those students are alone, and those students will be very weak in mentality. They do not feel or they do not have a sense of belonging. But members of particular peer groups, they are having this sense of belonging. And the next one is conformity and deviance. They can exert pressure on individuals to conform to group norms. So among these students' peer groups, there are certain norms actually. So they can stay in the group as long as they respect group norms. Okay, so for an example, I am giving you simple example so that you can understand it well. So maybe they are telling what we are discussing, it should be within the group and we should not tell what we are discussing to outsiders or something like that. If an individual broke that rule, and he will not be considered as a group member, something like that. But remember, peer groups, they are not always positive. Some peer groups, they involve in negative behaviors. For an example, nowadays everyone is talking about drug addictions of students, children. So here, most of the drug addicted children, they are also members of peer groups. So then if there is a peer group for bad thing, the student should go out of it. Okay, conformity and deviance. If the group is good with good motives, the student should stay there, respecting group norms. If the group is having negative behaviors, harmful behaviors, they should get out of the group. Okay, hope it is clear to you. Next one. What does it mean by student subculture? Student subculture. So when you read this, you may feel the definition is very close to peer groups. That's okay. That's correct actually. Student subculture is a distinct means very clear cultural group within the broader school environment. So subculture is bigger than peer groups. There are similarities, similar characteristics, but many peer groups together will form a student subculture. It's a group of students who share common interest, values, behaviors that differentiate them from the larger student body. Okay, so for an example, uh, there are even within the same school there can be some subcultures. That is possible. Okay, we'll read example. You see here. And don't worry about the first names, jocks, nerd, Greek, goth, preps. And don't worry about them. Just understand the other word Okay, these are some subcultures. Athletes who prioritize sports and athletic achievement. So all the students who are playing sports, they are having a separate subculture. And in the school, there may be students who excel academically. They are very enthusiastic students to study, and they are always interested in academic matters. So they are a subculture. And also at the same time, there are sets of students who are fond of music, fashion, aesthetic things, dancing, art, like that. They are a subculture. And also the students who emphasize social status, popularity, and conformity to mainstream norms. At the same time, there may be students who wants to be very popular. Okay, so they are another culture. So here you can understand, within the school, the whole school is a subculture. Within that subculture, there are other subcultures. Is that clear to you? Is it clear to you? If you have a doubt, you can ask, okay? You are adult students. So whenever you have a doubt, you should be having the strength to raise questions. Okay, now we learned about both. Now we are going to see the relationship between peer group and student subculture. Okay, so we'll see. So then student subcultures, here we got to know there are different subcultures, those who like sport, those who like aesthetic things like music, dancing, those who like academic work, okay, just like that. Student subcultures can be considered a type of peer groups. So student subcultures, they are also close to peer groups. Sometimes a subculture can be a peer group. Peer group can be a subculture. However, student subcultures are often more defined and have a stronger shared identity and set of norms compared to general peer groups. Okay, but there is a difference also. So then student subcultures, they have a very strong shared identity. So just imagine a peer group in a classroom. So sometimes common things are not very strong. But in subcultures, The strong shared identity is there. Okay, so then those who do spots, that demarcation, that separation is very strong than in a peer group. Okay, so that is the end there. Yeah, let me check. We'll continue the remaining one with the other one. Okay, 1.2.2 aims of educational sociology. I hope I shared this with you all. Now we'll go to next one. Don't know whether we did this. Hari, okay, just check whether we did this. I showed you this one early also. Is it the same one? No, that is the same one. Ne? This is something else. 1.3. Did we do this, which I have shared just now?
But not this PowerPoint.
Yes?
Yeah, we done this theory.
Can't hear. You are talking very slowly.
Can you hear me now, miss?
Sorry?
Can you hear me now, miss?
Yes, now it is clear.
Yeah. Yeah, we done this two theories, but not the exact PowerPoint.
Yeah, that's what I
Emily,
am also. Yeah, this one. We did this, ne? Hi, okay.
but we done the two theories.
Yeah, one more theory is here to be done. This one?
No, we the previous show the previous. No, you mentioned these names, but we didn't go like the more with more details.
Okay. Hi, okay. So then if I delete the slides up to 10 and if I share the remaining one, that will be okay, I feel. Oh, anyhow, I will share this, the whole thing with you. Hi, okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Hi, okay. Here, if I show you the beginning, meaning and nature of educational sociology we have done. Theories of Emily Durkheim we have done. So we have one more, that is Robert K. Merton and the theory of anomy and deviance. So 1.3.2 only we are going to do. Okay, just read. Okay. Here, Robert K. Merton, he was born in 1910 and died in 2003. Okay, he was living for nearly 97 years. Okay, was a prominent American sociologist who developed the theory of anomy, which explains how social structures can lead to deviance. Okay, so still you cannot understand anything. We'll see this. So his theory is about anomy. And that theory explains how social structures can lead to deviance. Okay, we'll understand. Okay. So what is this anomie? So anomie, it refers to a state of normlessness or social strain that occurs when there is a mismatch between culturally defined goals and the socially structured means of achieving those goals. Okay, I was just reading what is in the slide. So what is this? So in our society, there are certain goals defined by our culture. They are cultural goals. So the socially structured method to achieve these goals are, so then culturally defined goals are there. At the same time, there are methods to achieve these goals. For an example, I will say, with these examples, I will talk. So for an example, cultural goals, and they are common in each and every culture. Okay, so then wealth. So then if person should be having wealth, success, and social status. So in every society, the wealth is respected and successful persons are respected. And there are social status. Some people, they maintain them. Okay. So to achieve these goals, to be wealthy, there are methods. Okay. So then methods are there in the society. But sometimes these goals and the methods, they do not match each other well. Mismatch. There is a mismatch. Okay, so culturally, people with money, they are respected. We'll say like that they are having a very good social status. But the method of achieving money is actually killing people, doing briberies, corruptions, and it does not match actually. Okay, we'll see some more examples here. Okay, here you see institutionalized means. Okay, so there are goals. Okay, there are methods to achieve them. Just understand what I am telling. There are goals. At the same time, there are methods to achieve goals. Some methods are not accepted, but some other methods are accepted. Just imagine uh, people, the culturally, people want to be rich. They want to have money. But there are different ways that we can earn money. There are bad methods. But at the same time, there are socially accepted methods, such as education, hard work, and legitimate employment. Okay, rather than doing illegitimate things, bad things. Okay, there are good ways of achieving them. And modes of adaptation, Martin, this person, a socialist, he identified 5 modes of adaptation to anomie. So what is anomie? So without that memory, you can't go. Anomie refers to a state of normlessness or social strain that occurs when there is a big mismatch between so when there is a mismatch between goals and the method, that is called anomie in simple way. So Martin, he identified 5 modes for adapting to anomie. We'll see what they are. Okay, we'll see what are these methods. Conformity. That means accepting both cultural goals and institutionalized means. Institutionalized means here socially accepted ways of achieving cultural goals. So they are called institutionalized means. Okay, conformity, accepting both cultural goals and institutionalized means. Both are okay. Innovation, accepting cultural goals but rejecting institutionalized means. Okay, and then ritualism, rejecting cultural goals but adhering to institutionalized means. Then retreatism, rejecting both cultural goals and institutionalized means. I will explain them one here. Rebellion, rejecting and seeking to replace both cultural goals and institutionalized means. Okay, so what are they? So this person Martin identified 5 modes of adaptation to anomalies. Okay, so conformity, they are cultural goals and institutionalized means both are accepted. Innovation, goals are accepted, but institutionalized means are rejected. So just imagine the goal can be to become rich, but the good methods of achieving money is rejected, but instead they may do criminal things. Okay, did you get the point? To become rich, a cultural goal, it is accepted, but good methods of earning money is rejected. Instead, there is a bad method, turning to crime. Then rejecting cultural goals, that means both, okay, not both, cultural goals are rejected, but adhering to institutionalized means that is accepted. That means there are no cultural goals, just like to become rich. And also, but institutionalized means correct methods are followed. Retreatism means both cultural goals and institutional means are rejected. For an example, drug addiction. So there are no goals culturally to get drugs. And also the methods both are rejected. Rebellion, rejecting and seeking to replace both cultural goals and institutionalized needs. Rejecting both, but trying to replace them with cultural goals and institutionalized needs. Okay, so these theories are very huge theories. What I am doing is giving you an overview of it actually. Okay. Now, sorry, this one. Okay, deviance in education. Deviate, that means going out. So simple meaning is that. Martin theory can be applied to understand deviance in educational setting. Okay. Here there is an example. With that, I suppose you can understand it well. So there are some students, actually the students should achieve academic success through hard work, dedication, memorizing, studying, just like that. But there are students who feel that they cannot achieve academic success when they apply legitimate means. Okay. The reason for that, why they do not like the proper methods, may be due to lack of resources, discrimination, okay, lack of ability. Anyhow, they may turn to deviant behavior such as cheating, unaccepted behavior, dropping out, or engaging in disruptive behavior. And we know fraud cases. When exams are conducted, we have experience in catching students for fraud work. Okay, so they may copy the answers and they may bring some short notes like things. They may write something in their hand. Okay, just like that. Okay, so in the field of education, some students deviate from the educational setting, not following institutionalized, accepted behaviors. Instead, they select unaccepted behaviors. And we'll go to the next one. Example. See here. The same thing we discussed in clear way actually. Okay. I feel I need not to explain the example. It's very clear to you. So then this particular student is from a low income background. Okay, so he does not have money to buy required resources. Okay, so as a result, he decides to achieve academic success using illegitimate methods, just like cheating on exams or else dropping out of school. So they will discontinue their education just like that. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Okay, that is the his theory. Now let me check why these two ones are there. I have included a 1.3 in 1.4. That is what happened. Okay, let me check where. Yes. No. I have selected another slide actually, but what we did now, they are there in the earlier slide which I shared. I have combined all these things. Actually, that is what has happened. Hari, okay. Now we'll go to a new one. Yeah, let me share it with you. Yeah, wait. Let me show you the syllabus and then we'll check whether we have completed all the topics there. You should have that understanding. Okay, so this is the syllabus and I am showing the syllabus that the institute gave me. Okay. Hari. Here, just have a look and check whether we have done all these subtopics. Check. Okay, next day when we meet, I will give you certain MCQ questions on this. I suppose we have covered all these topics under Unit 1. What we have to do now is moving to Unit 2. Okay, I will do that. So if necessary, later you can check it with the syllabus. Hari, okay, topic number 2. Okay, let me share it. Okay, so these are the topics that we are going to talk now. Education as a social subsystem, a classification of agencies of education, under that formal and informal, schools as agents of education, home as an agency of education, role of education as an instrument of social change, non-formal agencies. Okay. There are 5 subtopics. Okay, we'll read this. Okay, education as a social subsystem. So here in this paragraph, you can get a broad idea about social system. So social system is something very, very complex. So in society, the social system, there are different parts which are interdependent. And also these parts work together to maintain stability. achieve certain goals within the society. So there are different sections in society. They all should be together to achieve social goals actually. These parts can include institutions. There are different institutions, organization, groups, individuals. All are there in the social system. A subsystem is simply a smaller. We have already spoken. I know you know what subsystem is. Okay, a more specialized system within the large one. The larger one is the society. Inside society, there are smaller subsections. It has its own functions and structures, but it's also interconnected with and influenced by the broader social system. Okay, what is this message? Okay, sure. I will share this one. What is this? Yeah, let me do it first. What is this one actually? Number 2. Wait. I'll share it first. Chat box. Check whether you got it. Okay, still it is getting uploaded. Okay, now you might have got it. Check. Yes, okay, you have got it. Correct. So this is what we were doing. Now we'll go to the next one. Okay, we'll see. So education as a social subsystem. Okay, so education is also a social subsystem. So when we consider education as a social subsystem, it means so education plays an important part of society, social system. So in every society in the world, whether it is Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Kenya, or wherever it is, education is given a prominent place in society. It has its own specific roles and functions that contribute to the functioning of society as a whole. So education is having very important roles in the function of society. Okay, education is something that every person should get in society. Okay, so that's why even in Sri Lanka, education has been made compulsory. So children, they have a right to get education. If parents, adults are not sending children for education, they can be arrested actually. They can be taken legal actions against. Okay, we'll see socialization. So then education transmit norms, values, beliefs, and knowledge of a society to its members actually. So then just imagine if there is no education, these things cannot be transmitted to the future generation or else the existing generation, the members of the generation. Okay, so accordingly we know education transmit norms, values, beliefs, and knowledge of a society to its members. So it is playing an important role. Training and skill development. So education make individuals ready for their roles in workforce, and also education provide them with the necessary skills and knowledge to contribute to the economy. Okay, these are very practical things. Economy needs certain professionals. Education provide them. Next. I will see. I'm giving you the time to read actually. Social mobility. So it means actually education provides opportunities for people to improve their social standing. Or education will change people's social status. Okay, so poor people, those who are having economic problems, the very poor people, they have reached very high level of society, that is through education. Okay, education is a very good means for people to have their achievements. And then selection and allocation. So education help to select individuals for different roles and positions in society. That is based on their abilities and qualifications. Okay, so education shows for what these people are better. These students are better because all are not okay for everything. So there are people who are clever in business. There are people who are clever in singing, dancing. And there are people who are very clever in teaching, okay? There are people with different talents. So education will decide it. And then social control. So there should be an order in society. The society should be very good and there should be a certain order. Okay, so for that, education helps a lot actually. So education will convince people, I mean the students, their responsibility towards the society. So as a whole, education promotes social order. So just think about a society where there are educated people, a society where there are illiterate, uneducated people. You can see the difference. The society with educated people is well established with correct order. But society with uneducated people, it's always problematic. But sometimes the opposite of this also will occur. Some educated people are worse than uneducated people. That is something else. And okay, we'll go to the next one. Okay, we'll see structures. So education is a subsystem and it has its own structures. And some of the structures under educational subsystem, we'll see schools and universities. Okay, so under the subsystem of education, schools and universities are there. So they are the formal organization responsible for giving education, schools and universities. But you know, before schools, preschools, they are also there. But basically, we'll take schools and universities. And then curriculum. Okay, the content and methods of teaching and learning, you know, curriculum is there. Sorry, teachers and students are there. Educational policies and regulations are there. So just imagine, under the roof of education, all these things are there. Schools, universities, curriculum, teachers, students, educational policies and regulations. Okay, influence of society. So we have already studied education is a subsystem which influence a lot to the society. Okay, so that is there. At the same time, there are certain factors in society which influence education. For an example, social class, race, gender, cultural values, they influence the access to education. For an example, the those the children who belongs to high social class, they have access to education, whereas the students who belongs to very poor social class, they do not have proper access. Okay, so impact on society, that also the education is having a very huge impact on society. It can influence economic development, social progress, and overall quality of life. Okay, so these three are very important: economic development, social progress, and the overall quality of life depend on education. Okay, so now we are coming to the second topic. Okay, just see the classification of agencies of education. Okay, so here, what is this message? What is this? I do not have an access to send notes again and again. So normally what I am doing is actually uploading the material to the Zoom actually, chats. So you can talk to your friends. They are having all the notes. So you can chat with your friends and you can take notes from them. Hari, okay. Classification of agencies of education, formal and informal. So formal education. So there are different agencies of education. So what is this? Hari, agencies of education. So we can have two types actually, formal educational agencies and informal educational agencies. We'll see what formal education is. So it refers to structured, organized learning. So that normally takes place in institutions like schools, colleges, and universities. So this formal education consists of curriculum and it has defined goals and also it leads to recognized qualifications. Okay, formal education, you know what it is. It's a kind of organized learning which takes place in institutions like schools, college, and universities. Okay, examples. Just read. Okay, here the examples. Attending a government school in Sri Lanka following the national curriculum. Okay, that is an example for formal education. Enrolling in a university degree program and participating in a vocational training course at a technical college. So they are examples for formal education. Now we'll go to informal education. Okay, informal education. What is informal education? Informal education happens outside the formal setting. So formal education, it happens within formal setting like schools, universities. But informal education, it happens outside the formal setting. And informal education is always unintentional, spontaneous. Unintentional means so school education, university education with the purpose, and we uh, purposely get it. But informal education is something unintentional and it is spontaneous. Spontaneous means without an effort we can get it. Okay? And occurs through everyday experiences, interactions and observation. So informal education we receive in our everyday experiences, interactions and observations. Okay, see the examples. Learning about cultural traditions from family members at home. So we get to know about our cultural tradition from our family members, from our parents, from our fathers, from our relatives. So that is an example for informal education. Developing social skills through interactions with peers in the neighborhood. Okay, so we develop social skills, how to work together, how to play together, all these things with peers in the neighborhood. So we learn them from our own peers. Informal education. Acquiring practical skills like cooking or gardening through observation and practice. Okay, so then most of us, we get to know about how to cook, especially girls. Okay, now it is not a problem whether you are a girl or boy, they both should learn it. Cooking and gardening, we don't learn it in a formal setting, but automatically we get it. That is uh, acquiring actually. So that is coming under informal education. Okay. A classification of agencies of education. See, Okay. Classification of agencies of education, formal and informal. Okay, so we were discussing what formal education and what informal education. So we can systematically categorize them into various social institutions, organizations, and entities. Okay, okay, so we'll see what they are. Okay, so yeah, there are something new, but we'll read this. Okay, so this is something that you already know. Formal education is structured, organized, and systematic, and that takes place within established institutions like school, colleges, and universities. And formal education consists of prescribed curriculum. Okay, so it indicates identified learning objectives. Okay, so it leads to recognized qualifications or certification. So in formal education, we can get qualifications or certifications. O level, A level, okay, degree, they are coming under it. Okay, see. Okay, so key characteristics of formal education, a structured curriculum is there, institutional setting is there, hierarchical structure. The first two you can understand, I know. What is the meaning of hierarchical structure? So that means the education, formal education, it is with a hierarchical progression with students moving through different levels of grade. So grade 1 to grade 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And when they are qualified only, they can go for A levels, just like that. Hierarchical structure is there. Okay, what is this message? Can't see. Okay, very good. You are helping each other. You are uploading of previous slides. Very good. Hi. Okay. Another message. You are uploading them. Okay, okay. You better do this. No issue. Honey. Credentializing or credentialing. Formal education typically results in the awarding of diplomas, degrees, or other credentials. Okay, that you can understand. So in formal education, there are different stages where the students are awarded. It can be a certificate, it can be a diploma, degree, master degree, PhD, like that. And time bound. The formal education is time bound. So primary education up to this O-level exam at the grade 11. A-level 2 years, just like that, there are time bounds. Standardized evaluation. So formal evaluation in formal education is very, very standardized. Okay, for an example, year 5 scholarship exam, O-level paper, A-level paper, evaluation is very, very standardized. See the examples. Okay. Primary and secondary schools, colleges and universities, vocational training centers, professional development programs. Okay, so you got to know a lot about formal education. Now we'll go to informal education. Okay, informal education. Sorry, what happened? Where were you? Where were you? Yeah, we'll check. So let me find the place. Okay. Informal education, that's what we were talking. Informal education is not time bound, just like formal education. It's a lifelong process. So until a person dies, he gets informal education, but formal education is time specific. Okay, so these characteristics we have already discussed: spontaneous, unstructured, okay, those things. And key characteristics of informal education: unstructured learning, that you know, experiential learning. So that means informal education basically on our experiences, interactions, and observations in our day-to-day life. Okay, see these things also. Okay. Formal education is informal education is a lifelong process, self-directed learning. So then individuals, they have their own methods. That means all are not having the same method in informal learning. Non-credential, so on the informal learning, we cannot see awarding certificates, diploma, degree, nothing. And it's a contextual learning. So they learn in the context. Here, the context, it refers to the society, the cultural background, and all these things. Okay, examples you see. Here, see the examples, learning from family and friends. Yeah, hobbies and personal, yeah, these things you can easily understand whether I explain it or not. Gaining knowledge through travel or cultural experiences. And we can learn through media such as books, newspapers, or internet. And by observing and imitating other people, we can learn. All these things are coming under informal education. Okay. So then here is a comparison between formal and informal education. Okay, so comparison and comparing and contrasting structure. So that is different. You can understand formal education is highly structured and informal education is unstructured. Okay, the setting is different. Formal education, it occurs in institutions, but informal education, it occurs in various settings. Okay, formal education is teacher-centered. We cannot tell exactly whether it is teacher-centered, but teacher is there, while formal education is learner-centered. But in that broad sense, this is correct. Formal education is teacher-centered and informal education is learner-centered. Let me check. Something more. Okay. Evaluation in formal education is very standardized, but in informal education, it's just observation or self-evaluation. The credentials are there in formal education, but in informal education, it's not there. Okay, credential means awarding. Let me check how many slides are there. Oh my God, there are many more slides. So here, therefore, we cannot complete. Okay, so I will just highlight this area, then I can remember where we stop. Okay, that's better. Otherwise, I have to ask it from you. Okay, with this, shall we wind up the session for today? And then we'll continue from this point onwards next day. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Thank
Okay,
you.
then good night and have a nice day.
Good night,
Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Have a nice
Good night. Have a
Okay,
nice day.
okay, good night.
Good night. Thank you, madam.